year, and this time around, they're looking for a chance to win it all. New Mexico, in its 7th straight NIT, is the hottest team in the field, winning 10 of 11. And they've done it behind 7'2" Australian import Luke Longley. From Madison Square Garden in New York City, it's the semifinals of the 53rd annual NIT. 4 teams have earned the right to come to the Garden after surviving 3 rounds of play and now find themselves just 2 victories from a championship. The first semifinal match is the Nittany Lions of Penn State at 24-8 against the Vanderbilt Commodores at 19-14. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Bill Raftery, and it's great to have you with us from New York City. You wouldn't know it to look at the average scores of both of these ball clubs, but, Bill, they have very similar styles.
Like us, both very hard-working teams. They really get after it, and it makes for sometimes unattractive basketball. But I think the major difference would be Vandy looks for that 3-point shot, Mike, a little bit more. They trap half court and will extend it. Of course, Penn State, on the other hand, they camouflage defenses. They play man-to-man with some zone principles, and they'll switch up. Interesting combinations.
Penn State all year has relied heavily on defense and rebounding, and that starts in the middle with their senior Ed Fogel.
A leader, a terrific leader in the sense that he can score and he can rebound. But interestingly enough, he's a great defender. He helps, he communicates. At the workout today, he talks his players through the picks and screens.
Vanderbilt has won 7 of its last 9 games, but the constant they've had all year long is their point guard, Derek Wilcox.
Well, anybody who coaches enjoys a guy who listens, pays attention, and communicates from the bench to the floor. And Derek Wilcox is that type of leader. He can run the show, but more importantly, if you need a 3, he'll take it. If you need penetration to get other people involved, he will do that as well, Mike.
Vanderbilt and Penn State in the first semifinal of the NIT from Madison Square Garden in New York. We'll be back with the starting lineup for both ball clubs in just a moment.
We're painting with Sears' best weather beater paint, our most durable ever. Because maintaining the world's longest continuous grandstand at Churchill Downs is a job nobody wants to repeat for a long, long time. For the sport of kings, Sears' best weather beater is a beautiful finish. Right now, we've reduced the price on this premium quality weather beater satin to only $11.96. But hurry, sale ends April 1st.
One airline has had the best record for on-time dependability for as long as records have been kept. American Airlines. And when an airline runs on time, it tells you a lot. It tells you that schedules are met reliably, that check-in is handled efficiently, that maintenance is performed impeccably, and that service is everybody's priority. In short, it tells you that one airline is committed to being the very best. American Airlines, the on-time machine.
In ancient times, an eclipse moved people to powerful emotions. Some even thought it called for a sacrifice. We can understand how an eclipse might produce feelings of excitement, wonder, even awe. But at $10,919, the Mitsubishi Eclipse is hardly a sacrifice. Now you could save up to $750 with factory-to-dealer incentives.
The National Invitation Tournament is brought to you by American Airlines. Something special in the air. By Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. See them at all your Mitsubishi Motors dealers. And by the Army ROTC, the smartest college course you can take. Here's how Vanderbilt got to New York. They defeated Louisiana Tech, their toughest game, in overtime. Then they beat Tennessee by 4, and New Orleans big, 88-65. Penn State has had 3 close calls, 3 over Marquette, 2 over Maryland, 3 over Rutgers, where they held the Scarlet Knights almost scoreless in the final 6 minutes, but that's been the story for Penn State all year long. The lineups brought to you by Sears Die Hard. And let's get to starting lineups from public address announcer Mike Walczewski.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Tonight it's the semifinals of the 53rd National Invitation Tournament. And tonight's first game features the Commodores of Vanderbilt University and the Nittany Lions of Penn State University. Here are the starting lineups. First for Vanderbilt, at the forwards, number 20, Kevin Anglin. And number 31, Steve Grant. At center, number 52, Eric Reed. And at the guards, number 3, Derek Wilcox. And number 13, Scott Drow. Head coach of the Commodores is Eddie Fogler. And now for the Nittany Lions of Penn State University. At the forwards, number 24, Deron Hayes. And number 42, James Barnes. At center, number 40, Ed Fogel. And at the guards, number 15, Monroe Brown. And number 21, Freddie Barnes. Head coach of Penn State is Bruce Parkhill.
Bruce Parkhill, who resurrected basketball at Penn State, will be back with a tip. First semifinal of the NIT in just a moment.
Is she taking medication? No.
I'm getting a line going. Stand back.
The emergency medical services. Aren't you glad they're there? A public service message from Quantum Chemical Corporation.
This is the brain activity of a normal 14-year-old. This is the brain activity of a 14-year-old after smoking marijuana. If you use pot, you're not using your brain.
Penn State comes in with a record of 24-8. It's their second straight 20-win season. They've only had 3 all time, and they have been terrific on defense, among the nation's leader in field goal percentage defense. Vanderbilt going for a 20-win season, really running it up in the NIT. They have scored 92 points a game in their 3 appearances. This is their first NIT Final Four. Penn State in white, Vanderbilt in the dark jerseys as we're set to go from the Garden in New York. Penn State will be very patient on offense, and as soon as I say that, they turn the ball over.
Good defensive play by Grant.
Wilcox on the run. He'll control this ball club. Anglin, the freshman forward, out of Franklin, Tennessee, and he throws it away. Penn State with Monroe. Brown missing the layup. Anglin got the rebound, taken back. Jump ball situation, possession arrow will give it to Vanderbilt.
Michael, how often have you heard coaches say, get the angle, use the glass so you don't miss the layup? If you're going to go down the center, you might as well jam it. Of course, in our day and age, we couldn't do it. But pick a side, take the easy one. Man-to-man early by Penn State.
As Vanderbilt made the changes up front after they were 12-12, that's really keyed their late run, Bill.
I enjoyed them early in the year. I saw them against LSU. Of course, saw them against Georgia on tape. Tough team, particularly with three-pointers like this.
They'll get the first three from Scott Dowd, who's a 42% long-range shooter.
Vandy, man-to-man.
Vanderbilt has used the three-point shot to its advantage this year. Deron Hayes, the freshman out of Lakeland, Florida, answers with a 2. Reed doesn't take the 15-footer, knocked out of bounds.
Two young, aggressive coaches, very well thought of in their trade. Names pop up whenever anything good opens in the college ranks.
Of course, the additional aspect of that for Penn State is they do not have a basketball conference as soon as they either win or are eliminated from the NIT. They're out of the Atlantic 10 at that point and not ready for the Big Ten yet.
Very unusual. Tough situation, too.
Penn State working hard on defense. Shot clock is down to 12.
This is a little their match right now. It gets confusing.
Dowd for 3 more. He's buried 2 in a row.
Not for Dowd.
No, he likes it.
Well, if he can do that, all the cuts will be effective against the matchup.
Barnes trying to penetrate and throws it away. Eddie Fogler, 4th year of college coaching, 3 wonderful years at Wichita State, now moved on to Vanderbilt. Of course, long associated with North Carolina.
One of Dean's boys, very well thought of.
Bruce Parkhill doesn't look old enough to have been a head coach for 13 years.
Well, he hasn't been punished like many of us. Success makes you look a little younger.
Yeah, he'll get older looking, right?
Oh, the Big Ten will test him on it.
It's 6-2, Vanderbilt early. Dowd with 2 3-pointers. Anglin trying to penetrate and can't.
Nice.
Bounce past the low to Reed. He's fouled before he gets off the shot. And fouled by the wide body James Barnes. This is his first action since he broke his toe on his left foot in practice 8 days ago. Had not played in the NIT till now, and I'd say it's kind to say wide body in his case.
He is, and he's fortunate to be playing. The toe had bothered him. Yeah, he's put a few on, I would say. Huh? Rather large. Joe Paterno, nice back cut.
Good help defense. Monroe Brown got a hand on it.
If Joe saw that body, he might entice him onto the grassy field. But Anglin in the basketball game, talking to the coaches, he does little things. He tried to pick up the charge at the other end. Nice bounce pass to the post. And you need guys like that. They all don't have to score.
Wilcox tries the alley-oop to Reed. Good defense inside by Deron Hayes. Wouldn't let him get position. And quickly back the other way, Monroe Brown.
What a great basketball name, huh?
Isn't it?
Monroe Brown. Think of maybe Larry Brown and, of course, Earl Monroe.
He and Freddie Barnes are the guards. Blocked inside by Grant and then saved. Loose ball, scramble. Vandy has it. 6-2 and looking for more.
Both clubs look for that opportunity break. Don't go all out.
Anglin for 3. And the rebound of Brown. They have not done anything to get the ball to Ed Fogel. He returns it after he touches it. Barnes with a jumper, spins out. Grant with another rebound. Stolen back, and that's James Barnes. Great anticipation.
Nice kick right here.
Out of bounds to Penn State. 16:28 to go first half. Milholland will come in for Vanderbilt. Along with Charles Mays, number 40, and James Barnes goes out, and Dave Deggets comes back in. Deggets, a sophomore out of Clearwater, Florida, had been starting for Barnes when he was injured. Brown, 3-pointer.
Fogel posting up help. He contained Reed. Nobody responded and played the shooter.
They'll give Brown that shot all night long. Only a 24% three-point shooter during the season.
You notice the cuts and they're pointing. It's the confusion of not only playing against, but playing the matchup. Bruce said to me teasingly, he said, sometimes we're in man-to-man with zone principles and vice versa. I said, come on. You were never that complex as a player.
Stroud with a runner. He has 8 points, all of Vandy's output in the first 4 minutes.
It must be the mustache. He didn't have that earlier in the year. I was teasing him about it. Did it help you shoot better? He said it did.
Deron Hayes outside to Barnes.
2-3 going over the top.
Hayes, line drive jumper won't go. Knocked out of bounds. Off of Reed out to Penn State. We've got a timeout on the court. 15:33 to go first half of play. Vanderbilt leads Penn State 8-5.
Look, there's one more thing. I'm thinking of hiring a college kid to replace Davis.
You're kidding.
Honor student.
Yeah, but he's just out of school. He can't have any experience.
I'm not too sure. He strikes me as a very determined guy.
Yeah, but isn't a college kid a little young to handle that job?
Maybe.
Move out!
But this guy's an Army lieutenant, Bob. ROTC has been training him for the last 4 years.
All right. When can I meet him?
Army Reserve Officers Training Corps, the smartest college course you can take.
May the road rise to meet you. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the wind be always at your back. But when it's miserable and you're trying to get someplace looking like $1 million, may you be going in a very dressy V6 four-wheel drive Mitsubishi Montero.
And may our factory-to-dealer incentives save you up to $1,000.
Hit the road, Jack, and if you don't like them, we'll buy them back.
Road Handler Treadlocks. Test them for 1,000 miles. If you don't agree they're the toughest tires you've owned, Sears will buy them back.
Hit the road, Jack.
Road Handler Treadlocks at Sears. Tough tires you can trust.
What you say?
Boating in a car. Boating in a truck. Finally, there's an oil that knows the difference. Truck Guard from Shell.
15:33 to go first half. Vandy on the strength of outside shooting by Scott Stroud has an 8-5 lead. He's already hit 2 3-pointers in that 8. Tickets to inbound for the Nittany Lions of Penn State.
A little zone with a trap out of it.
Finally get it to Fogel where he can shoot the ball and he scores. Fogel with 15.5 points as an average.
Michael, he personifies the work ethic.
Wilcox for 3. Vandy has hit 3 3-pointers early.
That confuses you defensively. I'll tell you, you don't know where to come. Once again, the response.
Fogel goes outside. Got some range on his shot.
So you take a look at this now, Mike. It looks like they're in the matchup. They'll trade people, point people. I can't explain it. It's harder to play against.
Wilcox trains another one, and Vanderbilt, which has been an outstanding long-range shooting team, is on fire so far tonight. And they lead 14-9. You can't trade 2s for 3.
No, not for long. Of course, you got to stop the 3s, which should open up the middle for Vandy.
Out of the quarter, Deron Hayes. And here comes Derek Wilcox, the senior out of Louisville, Kentucky. Stroud for 3 more. Holy cow.
While they're getting down, getting their feet set, when they're playing well, they're banging that one. And Stroud is so offensive-minded. When he's got it going, they just keep going to him. And he does make some impossible-type shots.
He has already hit 3 3-pointers, holds the school record for a single game with 9. An academic all-SEC performer.
And he sat out there 1 year just so he could get this extra time.
Vanderbilt 5 out of 6 as a team. Freddie Barnes answers at the other end. 17-11 Vanderbilt. Both teams making as many baskets, but Vanderbilt's making theirs count a little
Getting
more.
1 more. Here's another one.
Stroud finally missed one, and a reach-in foul is going to be called on Todd Milholland, the 6'10 sophomore.
Well, this is where Stroud, I think, can loosen his game up. And watching him this year particularly, he'll get on that roll. He'll shoot with the hand in his face. If he could ever bounce it once or twice, I think it could be devastating.
For Vanderbilt, number 35.
Vandy on the season, 39%, but a couple of individuals like Drought much better than that. Tonight, they are tearing it up. Morgan Wheat, number 35, is into the ball game for Vanderbilt. Against that zone, drained from outside by Deron Hayes.
Here's where Penn State could pressure a little more. Not a pure guard on the floor for Vandy. It might be a power type of game right now.
A lot of experience on this ball club, and here's a push-off inside on Steve Grant. That's his first. Vanderbilt with a lot of experience on this club. They go 8 deep with guys who have started at least 10, 12 games.
Of course, that post pass, if it had been brought to the side and dumped down, there wouldn't have been a foul. But the direct line offense pushing off. Steve Grant.
17-13, Penn State with the ball down by 4. 12:54 to go first half.
They really change up defensively. A little zone, then a trap, now back set up with a 1-2-2.
Grant fronting Fogle. Freddie Barnes, he's got a 3. The sophomore from Greensboro, 5 points, 17-16.
Vandy a little bit caught up there. I thought it was his own, but I think it was man. They just lost a guy.
And the Penn State contingent on its feet.
Great what he's done up there, though. People said it couldn't be done as Milholland drills. Does anybody get a layup on this club? I think of Bruce going up. They had struggled, and all of a sudden, a factor in basketball circles.
And they used to have wrestling matches at halftime of basketball games that drew more than the basketball games did. Barnes again, a jump shot. Fogle fights for the rebound, but it's cleared inside by Grant.
We went up there to play years ago, and after the wrestling match, we went into dress. Came back out, it was packed. The kids had all left by the time we took layups.
Yeah.
So what little respect they had for our Seton Hall program at the time. Thank God P.J. Carlissimo showed up and straightened it out. Here's the motion. A lot of cuts, screening up and down, looking for the shape up in the 3-second area.
Vanderbilt's offense, not surprisingly, looks a great pass to Wheat, and he puts it in with the left hand. Mays, perfect feed. But Fogler, 19 years at North Carolina as a player and assistant coach, and he's going to take some of Dean's lessons with it.
Something rubs off, doesn't it? Of course, they're one thing, though, that make the extra pass, much like Dean, and of course, they're very active.
21-16, Vandy. This is Deggets, and he walked.
All he's calling. Well, what a year Dean has had when you think of it. Everybody thought they were going to have a tough time. Did so well beating Oklahoma in the NCAA.
Sweet 16 again. 11:03 to go in this one in the first half, a 5-point game.
If you're considering an Accord or Camry, consider Car and Driver magazine's report on the Mitsubishi Galant after a special 30,000-mile test. They called it an ideal car for a deep and meaningful long-term relationship, adding that over 30,000 miles, not a single thing went wrong with the Galant. That's right, nothing. Nothing went wrong. How many long-term relationships can you say that about? Now you could save up to $1,000 with factory-to-dealer incentives.
Impressing the ladies is hard. New Busch Light is easy because it's cold filtered to make it the easiest drinking light beer around. So after a hard day, remember, New Busch Light is easy, which makes it a very easy choice. Let me summarize for the newcomers. Flying coach, that's hard. New Busch Light is easy because it's cold filtered to make it very easy drinking. New Busch Light is easy. Losing your car keys is hard. So make the easy choice.
Back of a bat can't be beat with baseball. 4 nights a week, Major League. Under the lights, ESPN baseball tonight. Tuesday, Friday, doubleheader. Wednesday, nothing better. Catch it Sunday, watch the fun. Sunday night, our home run.
All the highlights, all the news, and all the views every night. Baseball Tonight, only on ESPN.
Baseball Tonight.
Michael Patrick, you've seen a lot of ACC basketball.
Yes.
Therefore, you realize the back screens and cuts, see the ball. Fogel with his man going away, loses contact, turns, and misses the flight of the ball. But that is strictly Tar Heel Blue kind of an offense. Done very well by young Ed Fogler from Flushing. He was in the restaurant business a little bit in Chapel Hill and saw the light.
Well, he picked a better business than what he had in New York as a high school student. He drove a cab for a couple of years.
Oh, and they're going to be
after him.
They're going to be upset with the comments. He said, you know, if you let people know you're from Tennessee, they'll charge you double or drive around the block. So he's dead up. Persona non grata. Nice low.
Good feed inside, and Milholland gets the layup. Vanderbilt shooting extremely well, leading 23-16. They have hit 9 of 11 shots, including 5 of 7 3-pointers.
Good cut, pressure release. Defense picked up a notch man-to-man right now.
Fogel outside. Grant will have him down in the blocks. Grant at 6'7", Fogel 6'8". And Fogel can take him out a little bit. He's got some range.
Good help, good spacing defensively right now, forcing Penn State to be patient. And of course, putting a little stress on their shape-ups and cuts, Mike.
Shot clock at 4. Hayes, the runner won't go. Trying to save it, knocking it inbounds. Penn State controls. Milholland had a hand on it twice inside. He couldn't hold it.
Well, you'll take that kind of defense if you're Fogler, though.
Barnes can't get it to fall, but he will draw the foul.
Well, James showed a touch of strength on that one. Little contact. He was going to take both the defender and the ball up. But Penn State wants it down low. You can see the pressure on the passing lane and also defensively trying to gamble a little and front the low post guy. In this case, Mr. Barnes.
6'7", 255 out of Capitol Heights, Maryland.
Don't come late for dinner when he's there. Won't be much left.
They've really missed him, averaging 11 points, nearly 7 rebounds a game. He has yet to score in this one. Conditioning be any problem with him being off only 8 days?
I would think, and also the pain. You know how you give in a little bit if you've got a problem. And Bruce was saying it is still painful, but hopefully he can contribute.
If I broke a toe, I wouldn't be out there playing.
You'd be in Florida, I think.
That's right. Almost came out, fell back through 23-18, under 10 minutes to go, first half of play. Vanderbilt has had the lead from the beginning.
You can almost predict the three-point shots. Now they're playing for it, and they're getting things underneath, Mike.
Wilcox, Drought, who's hit 3 of those three-pointers, getting a little more pressure now. Reed, turn around, just threw that one up. Follow won't go, the rebound, and Monroe Brown.
So they shape up in that 3-second lane. Here's good pressure. Unfortunately, the tag forced what would have been a turnover. They hadn't called it, so.
Foul on Morgan Wheat, the sophomore out of West Des Moines, Iowa.
Disadvantage to the defense, and it's tough when you like good pressure on the basketball just to reach it by Wheat.
Anglin comes back in, and Milholland also back in for Vandy. Barnes, power move inside, banks it home. Barnes has 4, and the lead is cut to 3.
His every move is power.
Defensive pressure picked up by Penn State. That's been their keynote all year long.
Nice job by Fogel. All the way through, huh? Fought over the top and then fought on the low box.
6 turnovers against Vanderbilt. Penn State has committed only 3 so far.
Straight up, man. They're not switching those inside bumps.
Ooh. Barnes couldn't handle the feed from Freddie Barnes, no relation. Freddie out of Greensboro, North Carolina. James Barnes out of Capitol Heights, Maryland. Well, as well as Vanderbilt has shot the ball, it's surprising to look at the scoreboard and see them up only by 3.
Well, you mentioned the 2s. You know, they've been steadier, and now Penn State has taken away the 3s. So more of an even setup.
There's Drought working for a 3. Didn't have his rhythm on that one, and Barnes with a rebound. Freddie Barnes, right side, Monroe Brown with a runner, and it's a one-point ball game.
Well, there's some people who say that these clubs don't run, but what they do is they take care of the basketball. If a good shot shows, they'll take it. They're not frivolous with their running game.
Yeah, they don't force it.
The double here for Stroud. Pretty good reaction by Penn State.
Penn State with another steal after a 6-point run, and Stroud commits the personal after the steal. We've got a timeout, 7:43 to go. First half from the Garden in New York. It's Vandy by 1.
You can teach your kids the fun of basketball from the right techniques to the right attitude with the help of a great coach and ESPN home video. Legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden shows you how to teach your kids all the basics, plus the importance of mental attitude to build confidence and the enjoyment of the game. A free phone call gets you started.
Bend your knees. Relax. Don't stand stiff. Be loose. Be loose. Have those hands moving.
Teaching Kids Basketball is just one of the many Teaching Kids videos available from ESPN, all featuring proven methods from famous coaches. To order Teaching Kids Basketball for just $29.95, call 1-800-841-8900. Ask the operator about our other Teaching Kids videos and save $5 when you order 2. You'll also receive a free ESPN home video catalog. Teaching Kids Sports is child's play with ESPN home video.
It goes faster, a quarter's easier, and it only costs $1. Trust me. Joey Zuzu is alive.
He always had a credibility problem.
Mommy!
But now Joe's getting even with the all-new Impulse. Its 16-valve engine is faster. Its Lotus-tuned suspension does corner easier. And the price?
Jimmy, Bobby, na 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 na.
30 years ago, Lenny Wilkins was the NIT MVP and recalls the aura of playing at the old Madison Square Garden.
You know, you always heard about it and all the big fights and the big events happen at Madison Square Garden. And I never forget my first time playing there. It was just all that nostalgia. I felt like I could probably score 20 points with my eyes closed. It was that type of feeling, and I always enjoyed playing at the Garden.
NIT was played at the old Garden from 38 to 67. Hard to believe it would be 30 years ago that Lenny Wilkins played. Ball knocked out of bounds.
My daddy used to tell me about it.
My grandfather used to tell me.
He has really done a great job coaching, and of course, Providence College at a boys' high, incidentally, in Brooklyn, as you well know, Mike.
Penn State basketball. They made a nice run to get back in this one, down by only 1 to Vanderbilt with 7:23 to go in the half. Mike Patrick and Bill Raftery with you on ESPN. Glad you could join us.
I think Fogel could do some damage down there with Anglin. It's a tough match for him. Good kick out.
Barnes for 3. Off target, but Penn State tough on the boards. Loose ball. Here comes Wilcox. Stroud.
But they do that well, don't they? Flare out, hit the 3.
It has changed the game. Fogel. Well, he's got a nice, soft touch.
He always has played within himself when I've watched him. Last year in the NIT as well. Real solid contributor.
Penn State with the lead for the first time, 24-23. Stroud, after being hot early, hasn't been able to hit anything. Milholland with a miss.
Deggets with a 1 arm.
Yeah.
We've had the other one in Reed's possession.
Monroe Brown working on Stroud, and Stroud picked his pocket. Wilcox can't handle a bounce pass, but it's kicked.
Good opportunity squandered by Vandy there. But you can see both clubs, the nitty-gritty type of defense. They're always pawing and pecking away at you.
Penn State already has all 5 starters in the scorebook. Very balanced. And in the last 3 minutes, they have outscored Vanderbilt 8-0. Lem Joyner comes into the ballgame for Penn State. 6 feet, a junior out of Wilmington, Delaware. Only averages a couple of minutes a game. And Michael Jennings, 0-0 out of Severna Park, Maryland, is in. And Darrell Ricks, number 20. So Bruce Parkhill has virtually cleared his bench of players to get in the action. Dowd had hit 4 shots. He's missed his last 3 all long-range bombs. This is Wheat. Jennings right on top of him.
A little quicker defensive group, aren't they?
They certainly are.
And one of the rules Bruce adheres to, if anybody gets 2, he usually yanks them in that first half, too. So keep that in mind, Mike. Likes to save the guy.
Vanderbilt with pretty good ball movement. Wheat, great move, got the basket and drew the foul.
He has some ability. He was hurt early in the year. And the kind of a guy that I think can spark this club in some tough games. Pretty offensive-minded. And, of course, the ability to bounce now all set up by the great perimeter shooting early. A slithering type of move.
He hurt a foot ligament after 9 games. Degetz commits the personal. That's his first.
I saw
a 3-point play for Wheat.
When he had the foot injury, Mike, he dressed better than most Wall Street bankers. There's those Vandy kids. We'll all be working for them someday, huh?
Yeah. 26-24. Vanderbilt with the lead and the ball. 5 minutes, 30 seconds to go.
A lot of pin downs and crosses. A lot of action. Creates a lot of communication for the defensive people.
Very good passing team. Milholland wide open over a screen and buried it.
And it was all because of the inside screening. Degetz got lost. No response on Milholland.
Milholland with 6, 28-24. Excellent shooting team is Vanderbilt. And tonight they've really done the job. Lem Joyner can't get it in, knocked out of bounds by the Commodore. Wilcox got a hand on it. And Parkhill got a couple of minutes out of his reserves, and he'll go back to his starters.
Wasn't it the blue team in Carolina years ago? They used to get a minute and a half. Did they get a varsity letter for those minutes?
They should have. Sometimes they came in and increased the score.
They kept the lead most evenings or increased it. You're right.
Vandy shooting 61% so far, 11 out of 18. And we've hit the 5-minute mark in the first half.
There's that trap on the baseline out of bounds.
Hayes now working outside, and he'll exchange places with Freddie Barnes. Hayes to the baseline. Kept alive by Fogel, but Vanderbilt with another rebound. And that's something Penn State has done all year long. They have out-rebounded opponents, 7-8 rebounds a game. They're not doing it tonight.
You know what else they do? They get back and balance the floor. They don't give up too many easy baskets.
Reed gives it to Wheat. Mays, nice head fake to get open, and a great feed to Wheat.
Sure was. You can see him off that jump shot. But that's the action, too. You get a little confused defensively. Open up the passing lanes.
Very unselfish Commodore team tonight. They lead Penn State by 6.
Got to get the help.
Barnes to Barnes.
B to B.
Freddie gets the assist. James gets the 2. And he has 6 points tonight.
Now, Milholland worked real hard, but better offense negated the attempt.
Milholland stripped on the way in by Barnes. A couple of mismatches out there, Bill, with guys who are very quick against some guys who aren't particularly quick. We'll develop that a little bit more. 3:45 to go first half. Vandy by 4.
Craftsman lawn tractors are so tough, some are still going strong even after 22 years. So it doesn't surprise us that when Craftsman owners finally get a new tractor, they get another Craftsman. The only question is, when?
Says a child of 6 can do it. What does that mean?
Oh, this is good. As the kite catches the wind. Where's this wind?
Was this your idea to buy the kite?
It was my idea to buy the kite, but it's not working because we don't have any wind. Except it's coming out of our mouths.
Has everybody seen Kenny's car? What if I run and throw it over? I think you should jump with it. No, just go with it. Ready?
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If they're not Dockers, they're just pants.
It's kind of like life. No breeze, no fly. What can you say?
What's it take to win in college basketball? What's it take to win in 7-Up's college basketball championship game? That hard work could win you a limited edition Ford Mustang or a chance at prizes worth $20 million. So start practicing. 1 in 12 are winners.
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for a Cherokee.
Right this way.
This is an Isuzu Trooper.
It's a much better buy.
It is?
The Trooper has four-wheel disc brakes. Cherokee doesn't.
I didn't know that.
The Trooper has more cargo space.
Really?
And sells for about $1,000 less.
You're kidding.
Here, take a test drive.
Sure is lucky I ran into you.
Oh, I wouldn't call it luck.
Now, generous factory cash could mean big savings on a Trooper during Isuzu's sale into the 90s.
After SportsCenter, baseball tonight on ESPN, starting at midnight Eastern. Highlights of opening exhibition games. It's fun to say that now that baseball is back, and we'll have a profile of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Might even have a profile of Tommy Lasorda now that he has a nice-looking profile.
Slim trim.
Yeah, you bet. Great to have baseball back.
And speaking of Slim Trim, Luke on a second, Nick McCartchick in front, but poor Mary has to listen to him all year. Kind of second, what does he do on a night out? Comes to the NIT.
Anglin with a long jump shot. Would have been a 3.
He had a promised dinner.
It's not an easy lot for the coach's wife. Barnes with 3. Got it. Freddie Barnes. He has 8 points in Penn State again. Claws back within 1. Two well-matched teams in this one.
We were saying today, very similar approaches, and they really go after one another. Talent very much even. I think the key will be defensively, how they can stop either's passing game or post-up offense.
Dowd hasn't been in there in quite a while since he developed the cold hand. And he's the leading scorer in this ballgame with 11 first-half points. Anglin, trapped at the baseline, kicks it back to Mays for a long 3.
Just on the NBA line. Eddie switching the defenses. But do you realize these kids have started October 15th?
Yeah.
Now, this is the time of the year to play, though. I mean, the others work at times, particularly early season. But this is when it's fun.
33-29. Vanderbilt's done a good job shutting down Ed Fogel inside. He's only had about 3 opportunities to shoot the ball, Bill.
And against the zone, he's had his problem. There he is finally in a good play defensively from the rear.
Milholland got a hand on a 3-on-2 break. Wheat with a layup.
All the big guys for Vandy work. Good footwork. Mays stepped in front.
Wheat has 9, and the lead is back to 6 as we approach the 2-minute mark.
And the signal with the fist by Mays, reminiscent of North Carolina. He needs a blow.
Deron Hayes, he has 6. And every time the Commodores get a little breathing room, Penn State comes right back at them.
My guess is Parkhill would like to play the matchup, but until you get the lead, he's hanging tough with the straight-up man-to-man.
Wheat, too, is giving him some good offense off the bench. Tough baseline drive.
Strong. Boy, did he force the issue.
He had Monroe Brown on his shoulder and just drove him down the baseline.
I mean, you can call this what you'd like. I'd say 2-3, but now it looks 1-3-1, doesn't it?
It changes every time the ball moves.
Pretty good reaction.
Monroe Brown, a little strong. The rebound goes to Eric Reed. He's from Manhattan. He loves playing here.
You know, Reed played by James Barnes. Barnes looks a little bit tired right now. You asked earlier. He's a little bit late on each cut.
Mays with an air ball. Crowd gets on his case a little bit. Fogel, bad bounce pass, good anticipation inside. Another steal by Vandy. And they can play for the last shot.
Virtually, right? A couple of seconds, maybe.
Well, the shot clock should be off, but it isn't. The game clock has 30 seconds left on it.
I'm looking at it the other way.
Now they turned the shot clock off. The kids looked up at that. They could, the buzzer could go off, and they'd have the ball in their hand.
Was Fogel that far from the basket? Not a good effort.
That's the game clock on your screen with a 1/10 of a second counting down, trying to get the last shot. This is Anglin. 1-4 offense, clear out for him. Good feed inside. Reed got it to drop. Beautifully executed. Good if it goes, but it doesn't. Vanderbilt executing the offense beautifully to get the last shot of the half and increase their lead to 8 points. Still pretty good first half.
Excellent. And you mentioned Vandy. Both clubs aggressive, but the offense much smoother by Vandy.
Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at Penn State's success in our halftime feature, and it has been tremendous success under Bruce Parkhill to revitalize basketball in State College. First half highlights and all the stats, and we'll have interviews with Rich Grauer and Dave Bliss, the coaches in the second half of our NIT semifinal. The score, Vanderbilt 39, Penn State 31. We'll be back with more of our halftime activities from Madison Square Garden in just a moment.
It goes faster, a quarter's easier, and it only costs $1. Trust me. Joey Zuzu is alive.
He always had a credibility problem. But now, Joe's getting even with the all-new Impulse. Its 16-valve engine is faster. Its Lotus-tuned suspension does corner easier. And the price?
Jimmy, Bobby, na 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 na.
If you're looking for a new home, you'll be glad to know it's time for Better Homes and Gardens Celebration of the American Home. This weekend, more houses than ever will be open, just waiting for you to drop in. This could be the perfect time to find the home you've always dreamed of. And that's something to celebrate. Join us this weekend for Better Homes and Gardens Celebration of the American Home. Nobody knows homes better.
Thank you. And so, Mayor, these swiftly flowing currents create energy, which in turn creates power, which in turn brings electric light to every house in the valley.
That's very impressive, Calvin. Thank you, sir. But the contract calls for bringing Bud Light to the valley.
No wonder we're over budget.
Bud Light won't fill you up, never lets you down.
Which in turn keeps the Bud Light cold.
Everything else is just a light.
This Yardman mower has all the quality features of this high-price mower, except one. The high price. Yardman. Everything the high-price mowers have, except the high price.
Pour it in, pour it on, pour in the Kendall and pour it on.
You want to add life to the life of your car? Give it the good stuff. Kendall Motor Oil. Pour it in and pour it on.
And pour it on.
The National Invitation Tournament is brought to you by Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Nobody knows homes better. By Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. We're at halftime in Madison Square Garden in New York, the National Invitation Tournament, where Vanderbilt is leading Penn State 39-31. Vanderbilt took the lead immediately, and they have matched their biggest lead at halftime here, 8 points. Penn State led only once, and the big key in the first half, Vanderbilt hitting 6 out of 11 three-pointers. Penn State basketball, something you never mentioned before, it's back. It's because of Bruce Parkhill. Let's take a look.
You got to search and find somebody when the shot goes up. One time we had a guy wide open here for a stick back. Okay? Look for somebody, then get the basketball.
It's one thing to beat your on-the-court opponent, but seventh-year head coach Bruce Parkhill has had to battle the popularity of wrestling in the winter and the fanatical following of Joe Paterno and Penn State football all year round.
After last year's success and some TV exposure, obviously some doors were opened for us in recruiting recently, but primarily in our first 6 years, we sold Penn State as a university and the chance for the challenge, you know, a chance to try to put Penn State on the map in basketball as opposed to just football.
He took a lot of criticism when we were here 3 or 4 years ago, and he didn't communicate too well with the players, and he was kind of tense a lot, and I think he realized that too, and this year he's done a really good job of getting across to the players what he wants out of us.
You guys aren't setting enough screens, okay? Doing too much posting up.
Doesn't seem like he's really coming off it a whole lot. It seems like he's getting stuck in the corner.
All right, okay, get him moving.
Parkhill, a State College native, is the Lions' catalyst. and his evolution as a coach has paralleled the development of this team.
Run! Run, Durant! Run! That's it!
There's a buzz around campus, I guess you could call it, about the program right now. You get a lot of people talking to us, walking downtown. Someone will say, hey, nice game the other night, and things like that we didn't have 3 or 4 years ago.
Last December, Penn State announced they were joining the Big Ten, but it remains uncertain exactly when they'll begin conference play. Now, they remain contractually bound to the Atlantic 10 through the 91 season, but conference officials find their lame duck status to be a distraction. What concerns Penn State, though, is whether Bruce Parkhill will have to start his rebuilding process all over again.
The basketball aspect of the Big Ten affiliation, it was one of the key factors in the decision to do this. And I think eventually there could be some years in between now and then in the transition process that before we make that move, that it won't all be that great for Penn State basketball as it will be.
And if we have some more success in our recruiting, you know, I think we can be competitive in the Big Ten maybe sooner than people think.
From State College, I'm Andrea Kramer, ESPN.
Yeah, you talk about the difficult situation Penn State may be facing in the future. I can't imagine it would be any more difficult than what Bruce Parkhill faced when he went to Penn State in the first place and tried to establish the kind of a basketball program that he has established. Stay with us at halftime. Bill Raftery will be back to talk with our second game coaches, Rich Grauer of St. Louis and Dave Bliss.
I want to be the best, and it takes hard work to be the best. Practicing, getting up at 7 in the morning, running up and down that court, working left hand, right hand. You're ready because you got on this uniform and you feel unbeatable. NBA Authentics, the real stuff.
Merle Harmon's Fanfare, your headquarters for officially licensed NBA merchandise in shopping malls coast to coast.
Good news? I still got a few. My IRAs used to be all over town. Banks, mutual fund companies. Now they're all at Schwab, so I can move between investments easier. I bought some zeros, mutual funds, then switched to blue chips, all in the same Schwab IRA. Now when a good opportunity comes along, home run.
We give you more ways to succeed.
The Volvo 240 has a reputation for surviving accidents, and we at Subaru have always been impressed by that. So we gave the Subaru Legacy wagon unibody construction, like the Volvo 240. But we also gave it full-time four-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes, because the best way to survive an accident is not to get into one.
Factory-to-dealer cash incentives on selected models make it a great time to come into your Subaru dealer.
Kmart keeps your car riding smoothly with Monroe Gasmatic shocks. The quality you need at the price you want. $16.97 carry out.
New Aspen Cologne for men. A compelling new experience for women. Aspen, now.
Back at halftime with Vandy leading Penn State 39-31, and we're fortunate to have the next two coaches for this evening. Dave Bliss, of course, from New Mexico, but right now Richie Grauer, the St. Louis University coach, and you're very comfortable in this building, aren't you?
Well, 2 years in a row in the Final Four. I said the other day, it's very difficult to do anything successfully 2 years in a row in basketball, so I think we have to consider this a success for St. Louis University.
Well, when you think of your conference with Dayton and Xavier doing so well in the NCAA, of course, I saw Evansville earlier in the year. It's not an easy conference.
The Midwestern Collegiate Conference is one of the rising conferences we think in college basketball. Dayton beat Illinois, and obviously Xavier played very well in beating Georgetown and won a couple games in the NCAA tournament. Marquette's a good team. Don't forget about them. And we got some growing teams, Detroit and Loyola. So we think we got a good conference, Bill.
Of course, your opponent for this evening, Dave Bliss, no stranger to this building either, of course, during his days with Army and Bobby Knight. And I know you've had a ton of injuries this year. It's been difficult for your club.
Well, I think all teams go through adjustments, whether it's caused by injuries, Billy, or it's caused by various things that happen to the team. And the only thing we're grateful for is we've kind of overcome them.
Of course, your club the last 3 years, you've been good, then struggled, then gotten very good at the end of the year. It's a good time to become a solid club.
Well, again, that's what you really try to work for. And in our particular case this year, we were pretty good down the stretch. We had some problems in the postseason. We didn't get to the NCAA, but we're just tickled pink to be here in the NIT, and especially in the Final Four.
Now, Rich is going to worry a little bit later about this guy, but fill us in on Luke Longley.
Well, Luke Longley is probably one of the newer names on the scene at 7'2", and a legitimate 7'2", Bill. At 260, he's really pretty mobile, a very good offensive player, getting better defensively. Again, he's from Australia, so he has not played as much basketball as a lot of other kids have, and that's why I think he's getting better and better by leaps and bounds. So we're hoping he'll have a good game tonight because we know we'll need him.
You know, Bliss is older than I am. Look how good he looks. That's all that winning, Rich. But you've got a youngster who I saw last year. The NBA scouts have looked at. Anthony Bonner is a very talented and quick performer for his side.
Well, 6'8", 225, and he can run the floor like a deer. That's the amazing thing about it. Strong and quick, and just the hardest worker I've ever seen. And leading rebounder, leading scorer, and leading man in steals at St. Louis University.
Your fear this evening in facing this New Mexico club?
Well, Mexico's on the roll, and they're playing real well right now. Luke Longley is obviously a force in the middle, but they surround him with some pretty good players, and they're just on an emotional and physical high right now, and that concerns us.
Well, one parting thought, in playing this club, you don't want an up-and-down ball game, do you?
Well, I think we've been able to play an up-and-down ball game. I think our strength has been that we've been able to play fast and win and been able to play slow and win. I think we can play according to the tempo that the game dictates.
Now, your club, the last ball game, had to overcome. You had a great start, and all of a sudden the press came at you. You struggled a little bit with it, but you had some foul problems.
Well, again, they weren't playing on top of their game early in the game, and we had kind of a plastic lead at halftime, and I think our players let up a little bit. They turned it on, especially Roland Gray really lit it up, Bill. And then we lost our confidence, and then we got in foul trouble, and then I started coaching. So, unfortunately, they made the trip back to New York.
Well, Dave, thank you very much for dropping by, Rich. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing your two fine clubs next ball game. And, of course, St. Louis will be playing New Mexico right after this second half. We'll be back with more after these words. Thanks a lot, coaches, and good luck to both of you. Hold it!
Rocket science is hard. New Busch Light is easy because it's cold filtered to make it the easiest drinking light beer around. So after a hard day, remember New Busch Light is easy, which makes it a very easy choice. Let's review. Playing dodgeball. Ooh, that's hard. New Busch Light is easy because it's cold filtered to make it very easy drinking. New Busch Light is easy. This would be hard, so make the easy choice.
We got our work cut out for us, Jess. We got a shot to the middle of the green. We can make par. What do we got for yardage? 187 to the hole. What do you think? Uphill, 3-iron.
Kind of fired up. I'm going to take a 4 right over that tree and make a birdie, huh?
You got that shot.
Of all the Subarus registered since 1979, an astonishing 93% are still on the road, which could mean the new 4-wheel drive Subaru Loyale will still be good on a hill when other cars are over it.
Factory to dealer cash incentives on selected models make it a great time to come into your Subaru dealer.
The The National Invitation Tournament is brought to you by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. 7-Up, the cool spot. And by Subaru. We built our reputation by building a better car. We're at halftime in Madison Square Garden in New York City. Vanderbilt 39, Penn State 31. Mike Patrick and Bill Raftery with you. Glad you could join us tonight. A very good, well-played first half by both ball clubs. And I think, Bill, the difference, Vanderbilt's shooting, especially the three-point shooting.
I think you were a little shocked. I mean, they can drill it. They've got a couple of people, particularly Drought, who loves to tee it up. Needs a little rest to get back in the groove, but they have been impressive because of that. It's certainly opened up things for them.
Let's take a look. Drought was hot early, hit his first three-point shots. Vanderbilt is the team 5 out of 7 from that range.
Well, you notice how they'll run the ball down, they'll flare out and stop. And, of course, that is punishing to a defense that is going back, trying to recover. And defensively, Fogel has really not been called much by you, Mike Patrick, because they have defended him, beaten him to spots, fronted, and that's the smaller Anglin out there really hustling, and the bigger guys have done a good job for them as well. He has to get perking if they're going to be a factor.
And they've kept him off the boards, too, and the rest of his teammates.
You mentioned the offense, how smooth and effective it's been. This is a little bit of a delay to get a good one, but they found the open people underneath. You see the nice dump off as Eric Reed's able to snatch and finish. So real solid performance. And Penn State, I think, offensively, has to find Fogel.
And that was executed by freshman Kevin Anglin out of Franklin, Tennessee. Here are the halftime stats. Both teams shooting well, but the difference in the three-point field goals has Vanderbilt up 39-31 at the half. Free throws, only 3 in the entire game. There were only 7 personal fouls in the entire first half. Take a look at the individual leading scorers. You see Drought and Wheat both with 11. Wheat off the bench. They're the only players in double figures. A very good balance for Penn State, but somebody needs to step up a little bit in the second half. Bill, I think you always need that one guy rather than having 4 players with 12, 13 points, and that may be the guy, Fogel.
And he's the contributor. He's got to touch the ball at least, getting 15 points a game. Key man, they've got to get it to him.
Freddie Barnes starts the second half, and that's the story on the bench. Vanderbilt 20-0. Wheat with a sensational job. Turnaround jumper by Deron Hayes. The good-looking freshman now has 8 points.
You notice Bruce called Fogel's number there, though. It was his jumper, but a nicer pass. He didn't have the shot.
I think Parkhill has more depth than he has ever had in a Penn State basketball team. Drought is back in there for Vanderbilt.
Straight up man-to-man. Not too many wrinkles by Penn State. The hammer's been held by Vandy.
Reed comes outside. Fogel with him. This is Wilcox. Like to run Drought around screens. Not that accurate as a running jump shooter.
No.
Reed, pressure, got his own rebound after he missed. Blocked by Barnes. Reed again.
Pretty good non-calls, too, letting them play. No contact. But Penn State has to do a better job cleaning up.
Reed with 4, and Vanderbilt matches its biggest lead at 41-33.
You know, Michael, both coaches could run one another's practice. Nice high-low, huh?
Barnes missed it after Fogel got it to him, knocked out of bounds out to Vanderbilt. Yeah, they could, Bill.
Same type of strategy, same type of work habit.
Defense, passing game, hustle.
And both coaches sans jacket as well.
Grant tries the spin move, and an excellent defensive play by Freddie Barnes to take it away. Penn State not the kind of team that you would expect to come back from a big lead, so they can't let Vanderbilt get too far ahead.
No, they're going to hang tough, Mike. You're right. Getting some good shots. They must convert.
Not a particularly good outside shooting team.
Nice post pass.
Drought got the good feed inside to Grant, and the junior has his first 2 points. The lead has grown to 10.
Now, that looks very simple, but you've got to seal your man, beg for the basketball, and they got to deliver.
Drought goes after the steal, comes up with it, goes down on the floor to Wilcox.
Number
3-on-1, and nice defense by Barnes. Maybe a bounce pass.
Oh, that would have been on the money. He had him, too. 3-on-1, and you come up empty, but this is not a walk. You're still dribbling the basketball. The number's 3-1, and look at that, right up where the guy doesn't have to make any effort to touch it.
Barnes really anticipated the pass well, though.
Yeah, Freddie did a good job.
Tipped out of bounds by Penn State. 17:39 to go in the game. Vandy by 10, 43-33. If you're a Vanderbilt fan, this is where you'd love to see Stroud bury a couple of long-range jumpers and really extend that margin.
You'd see a little bit late defensively, Penn State. They're being beat on the cuts.
Wilcox for three. Tip won't go. Fogle tips it, kept it alive for his teammate Barnes.
Like they're very active, Vandy, on the glass for non-jumpers.
Monroe Brown way off on his jumper. Stroud was open on the wing for a second, but they couldn't get it to him.
Good help by Fogle on the back on Reed.
Now Stroud wide open, had a little bit better rhythm that time, but it still wouldn't go for him. Loose ball goes to Barnes.
Guards have struggled all year for Penn State. This guy hasn't, though. Let him touch it.
Every time he gets it in shooting position, Fogle makes it. Cuts the lead back to 8. And Fogle has 8 points himself.
Well, Barnes at 39% and Brown at 36%. That's not old country style shooting, is it?
One thing that has always been, there's Stroud with another three-point effort. He certainly isn't shy. And Stroud has 14 points. And the lead is now 11.
Did you ever meet a shooter who was shy?
No.
Be the first one.
One thing Penn State always has to worry about with Fogle is we have a foul on the drive. Reed commits the personal. Is that Fogle, when he has been in foul trouble, has really hurt the team. In the last 3 years, he's fouled out of 10 games, and Penn State lost every one of them. Foul trouble is no problem for anybody right now tonight.
Well, you got to take advantage of when he's on the floor. So it might be more of a delay if you don't get Fogle's original call. Go back to him a little bit. That's up to the guards to be the choreographers.
46-35. Wheat is back in for Vanderbilt. Had an outstanding first half off the bench. This is Jennings for Penn State.
Good use of the floor that time over the top.
Barnes, a three. Barnes, not a particularly good three-point shooter, only 37%, but he's hit a couple of those tonight. Lead back to 8.
This is the end Penn State has to improve. Deny the cuts and check out, Mike. They're not really sealing off.
Good bounce pass, got it inside, and the power move by Eric Reed.
No recovery defensively. Deggets got caught on the one hip, never got back baseline, and no support either.
Past 13 games, Reed averaging 12 points and 7.5 rebounds a game. So he's really come on strong, as has the entire Vanderbilt team.
A little bit of the zone now. Anytime you play Penn State, I would think it's tempting to play this defense, but that helps Jennings.
Michael Jennings, who is a 22% three-point shooter. Didn't look like it on that one.
Bruce said surprisingly most clubs play him man because they know they struggle shooting. They want to challenge everything, make it tougher.
Nice. Wilcox, great feed. Reed missed the shot, though, and then commits the foul trying to get the rebound.
Oh, we may have been able to make that one. Maybe I'm going too far. Great look. That's what Wilcox means to this team.
14:52 to go in the game. Vanderbilt by 7 over Penn State.
What's it take to win in college basketball? What's it take to win in 7-Up's College Basketball Championship game? That hard work could win you a limited edition Ford Mustang or a chance at prizes worth $20 million. So start practicing. 1 in 12 are winners.
The Volvo 240 has a reputation for surviving accidents, and we at Subaru have always been impressed by that. So we gave the Subaru Legacy wagon unibody construction, like the Volvo 240. But we also gave it full-time four-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes, because the best way to survive an accident is not to get into one.
Factory to dealer cash incentives on selected models make it a great time to come into your Subaru dealer.
Okay, here we go.
I'd move if I were you. I'm going to throw one.
Well, I still have one more dart.
He's also got.
Oh, he's got another dart.
Well, then go ahead. Take. I'd like to throw one backwards. Would you clear the room?
Anybody have stock?
Well.
Anybody take stock? Anybody stocky? Let's play darts.
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If they're not Dockers, they're just pants.
Oh, there we go. Count it.
That was close.
Is it? That? Use a dangling participle. You have to.
Hey, that'll be enough of that kind of talk.
Didn't you just yawn in my face?
This Yardman mower has all the quality features of this high-price mower, except one. The high price. Yardman. Everything the high-price mowers have, except the high price.
Well, you mentioned Ed Fogel should touch the ball a little more. If he's a little active without it, you can get some things done. Of course, we got to make sure it's at his basket. Good step and cut, doesn't get it, backs off, and then pops in. But this is patience by the perimeter people. You look once he's not there, go back to him. He's their money guy, let him touch it.
Penn State has committed only 2 personal fouls in this ball game. When we're talking about Fogel's sometime foul trouble, nobody for the Nittany Lions is having any trouble at all. Jennings trying to make it 2 in a row. The tip is good, however, and that's Barnes got the big body in there again.
And that's good news, Barnes.
That's right.
They need some follows on misses. And of course, you mentioned the 3-2.
Wheat, very athletic move. Milholland, nice follow off balance.
He had dragged everybody on the cut. Morgan Wheat, and of course, Milholland with the easy follow.
50-43, Vanderbilt by 7, going for their 20th victory of the season.
Almost got 5 here. Yeah.
And they finally did.
Great pressure, both on the ball and Milholland on Deggett's on the high post. You kill your dribble. You got to find somebody.
And somebody's got to come to you sometimes.
Exactly.
Good defense by Mays, and there is the shooting. Both clubs shooting well over 50%. Hasn't been for lack of defense either. They've just shot the ball well. Wilcox, who has not been an offensive factor at all, averages nearly 12 points a game. Way off on that jumper. Jennings got cut off at the baseline.
No, he's not afraid, is he?
No.
2 jumpers, then the penetration.
Barnes with a leaner, won't go. Mays with a rebound.
Not as good on the outside with Trout out. More of a penetrating or short jump shot shooting team.
Wilcox, bad as he looked on the shot before, drills that one from the baseline. Lead is back to 9. Wilcox now with 8 points. Wilcox goes for the steal. Great job to get the ball, and then Jennings commits the foul.
Boy, you're right. The one shot looked like he was going in the condo business. Then the stroke got him going. Great defensive strip at half court.
First personal on Jennings, only the 3rd team foul against Penn State the entire game. First one in the second half. Anglin comes back in for Vanderbilt. And Fogel is back in for Penn State. He may have had his last rest. They're down by 9.
I would think. And they're going to have to tee it up a little better on this end. Have not been a nice back cut. They stripped the back.
Mays with a great break toward the bucket and the perfect pass.
Well, you let the ball in that high post, you are vulnerable.
And Bruce Parkhill wants to talk about it. His club has fallen by 11 again. It's 54-43 Vanderbilt. 12:40 to go in the first semifinal from New York.
The new Suzuki Swift has more front legroom than this Rolls-Royce. Gets better gas mileage than this Volkswagen. And it starts at less than $7,400. So call for the Suzuki dealer nearest you.
Kmart lets you reel in savings with Berkeley Trilene Fishing Line. The quality you need at the price you want. From $447.
I said, put on some steaks and get the Queen a Bud Light.
Bud Light's clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never lets you down.
Henry, they're Pop-Tops.
Everything else is just a light.
Well, it's the perfect opportunity. He's
If you want to see the movie Working Girl, you can see it on both Showtime and HBO. But if you want to see Mississippi Burning, only Showtime has it. HBO doesn't. Showtime also has Beaches, The Burbs. HBO doesn't. And only Showtime has Monty Python's 20th anniversary special. Showtime exclusives. Here you see them, there you don't.
A lot of plays, Mike, look as though they're simple and just happen, but you can see everybody's brought up high now to set up the back cut, all orchestrated. See Morgan Wheat on the right elbow, highlighted. No defense can get there in time. Beautiful pulling of the string, and look how far the defense has to come. Great little pull by Vandy.
54-43, Commodores going after win number 20 on the season. They won 7 of their last 9 games since Eddie Fogler went to a major lineup change. Monroe Brown kept alive inside only momentarily, and Milholland comes out with it.
Did you notice the little zone there to make him think after having played man-to-man the last few trips?
Anglin running the club outside, almost the steal. Reach around by Barnes. Milholland turnaround jump shot, and that one is stuffed right in his face by Fogel.
Good reaction, too. Wasn't his man. Keep your eye on the ball and help your partner. Now, this is where they punish the defense. The block shot starts a new 45, and you see Fogel all the way down. Sort of unfair to the defense, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Good pass that time. Milholland got the ball just over Fogel's fingertips.
Pretty good position. Great look.
And Milholland, who averages nearly 10 points a game, has 10. And the lead at 13. The biggest lead of the ball game for the Commodores. 11:41 left from Madison Square Garden.
Everybody packed in. They're just going to challenge that medium-range jumper. Force Penn State to beat him out.
Good feed inside to Barnes. A little strong with the shot. More of a throw than a shot. Anglin hustling it down court.
That's a big basket, too, to come up empty on. A little chippy. A little late on all the cuts. The dark shirts beating the white shirts on their cuts, Mike. That's either fatigue or not good communication.
Still plenty of time on the shot clock, 17 seconds.
See Anglin way ahead.
And a hold inside.
You've got to lead the guy, and they're just not capable right now of doing it.
Foul was on Monroe Brown, only his first. Second team foul here in the second half. Here's the way they have shot tonight. Vanderbilt, 7 out of 14 three-point shots. You expect that from the Commodores, but Penn State has taken 12. This is a team with a lot of guys in the 20s and 30s on three-point shots.
Well, they're wide open, I guess. Might
yeah,
well take
have
it,
to be.
Forcing them into it.
Deggets is back in, and James Barnes will sit down.
And you have to commend James Barnes. Everything is either your finger or your toe. Your whole body aches when it's not right.
8 days ago, broke the big toe on his left foot. And a really miraculous comeback. Be able to play at this stage. Drought is back in for Eddie Fogel.
Now he drags the defense even a little further out. Not good ball handling here.
Nice steal by Deron Hayes, and then Wheat fouls him.
Almost
on Morgan Wheat.
Predictable, huh? When
yeah.
you turn it over out in the middle of the floor. A little egg on the face, a little yoke. And this is just not protecting your ball. When you break the man down, you've got to snap it across your body so he can't get the hands in.
Vandy in the zone, and Penn State has to find a way to solve it. Is it Freddie Barnes? No. Almost kept alive by Fogel, who really hacked at it.
One and done, though, Mike.
And this is a great rebounding team, Penn State. But not tonight. Vanderbilt has done the job. Wilcox wide open behind a Drought screen. Missed it.
Good check out by everybody in the white shirts.
Penn State needs a basket badly. This is Barnes. Good job by Wilcox to cut him off. Deggets. 10-footer won't go.
A lot of empty trips right now.
Wheat tied up on the way in, and he traveled. Nice defense by Deron Hayes.
Good recovery as he came down the floor. Might as well get involved. Just don't run by people.
What would you do for a bucket right now, Bill? They need one in the worst
Penn
way.
State, it's very tough. They're relying on the jumpers. I think if anything, Mike, they've got to screen the wing people in and make it an easier jumper. I mean, if you can't get it down low, well, punish them a little bit, make it a 15-footer versus an 18.
Penn State has missed their last 6 shots. 9 minutes, 39 seconds left to go. The winner advances to the championship final Wednesday night. Darrell Ricks, number 20 in the game.
Trying to overload. Good kickback.
Don't look for Ricks to take the long-range shot. He's only had 5 3-pointers this year.
Got it.
Offensive foul, Monroe Brown.
Well, that's the frustration. You're not getting the jumper. Now you're trying to force the issue, make the big play for your club, which you have to admire and commend. But when the people step in, you got to stop and kick it back out. And right now, it's a struggle for Bruce.
When as a coach, you know better than anybody how much trouble you're in down by 13 points without the outside shooting game.
Now, why did you turn to me and say that I was an authority being down by 13?
I've heard the rumors.
Looked up the book, huh?
That's right. Drought in traffic.
It starts.
Offensive foul. That's a good call. Drought was trapped and in desperation just threw his body inside.
Eddie Fogler over there a little distraught. But it starts on that end for Penn State.
Yes,
and if
it
they're going to
does.
get anything, the one thing, if they could, get the easy basket somehow to get them going, like a turnover in the open floor leading to the fast break goal. They haven't had anything but the jumper or the drive.
Foul was second on Drought, and Barnes will come back into the ball game. The big junior, they need his weight inside, maybe to get an offensive rebound. Fogel is in there. He hasn't done much. Fogel with 8 points, Barnes with 8.
Maybe the foul line. Like, they haven't really tried up top for Fogel, just to get him involved a little bit.
Nice drive that time by Deron Hayes, but he missed the shot.
And Barnes unable to secure.
The clock now becoming a Vanderbilt ally. We're down to 8.5 minutes to go. They're up by 13, and nobody has scored in quite a while.
And I asked Bruce if behind, did they go full court? Nice step throw. Oh, they got it going, getting what they want on the offensive end.
Drought the feed to Grant, made the bucket and drew the foul. Foul was on Fogel. That's only his first.
Pretty good shape up, though, and they do find people, but Bruce said they don't press real well. They can't go out and guard people the length of the floor, which makes the disadvantage that much tougher at this point in the game.
Vandy has scored the last 8 points. Penn State has made it 9 now. Penn State has gone dry for 7 minutes. Milholland comes back in for Vanderbilt. Grant goes out.
I don't have too many friends that have gone dry that long.
I'll just let that one go. 8:14 to go in the game. 59-43. Vandy over Penn State.
Now the guy has to cut when they throw it cross court. The reaction to the ball, one of the few times Fogel's had an easy attempt.
Fogel missed. Barnes couldn't get the tip. Knocked out of bounds out to the Nittany Lions. Eddie Fogler working hard on the Vanderbilt sideline. Did such a fine job at Wichita State. 3 years there.
Solid and on time. We were doing some tapes with him today, and he had to be back out at the precise moment. Nice drive.
Shot wouldn't go. Fogel with the tip. So Monroe Brown, the great athletic drive, couldn't get the shot. Mays back the other way, and an excellent play by Brown on the other end to knock it away.
Getting all good shots. I mean, they're getting the TV timeout. What's the talk over? You can't get them any better ones, Mike.
7:46 to go in the game. Vandy by 16 over Penn State.
Did you hear about it? A big new baseball video that covers all of the 1980s. It's got everything.
Hi, I'm Jack Brickhouse, and I've just seen one of the best baseball videos ever produced. Baseball in the 80s, new from the Sporting News. An entire decade of headline-making, record-breaking baseball action and excitement. Free with your paid subscription to the Sporting News, America's most authoritative, most complete sports weekly, bringing fans unbeatable baseball coverage for over 100 years. Call now to have the Sporting News delivered right to your mailbox every week at a big 46% saving off the cover price. plus this full hour video cassette of the decade, Baseball in the 80s, yours free.
Call 1-800-638-1200. Get your free video with 25 issues of the sporting news for 3 payments of just $9.96. Save 46% off the cover price. Call now 1-800-638-1200. That's 1-800-638-1200.
Championship basketball continues. The NCAA Women's Final Four. The climb to the top is not over, and the remaining games promise to be the toughest yet. The action starts Friday night, live on ESPN. We're covering the national pastime full-time. Major League Baseball comes to ESPN. Spring training continues when the Yankees face the Mets, Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
The second National Invitation Tournament semifinal coming up after this ball game. St. Louis against New Mexico. We still have 7 minutes and 46 seconds left to go in this one. Penn State digging itself a major hole. They have missed 11 shots in a row. Now make it 12.
A little back screen, and they've really just been able to cut at will.
Drought got it. 62-43. Biggest lead of the game, and Bill, you certainly can't win if you can't score.
And Drought frustrates the Penn State drought. And he's just added to it. They got to step in right there. Monroe
Barnes got the 3.
Monroe Brown could bring it all the way to the foul line. He's staying 10 feet away.
It broke nearly an 8-minute drought for Penn State, but they're still down by 16 with 7:07 to go. Wilcox, tough pass inside, tipped away. Penn State on the break, one of the few times they get a chance to run, and Freddie Barnes converts. Barnes has 16 points, far and away the leading Penn State scorer tonight.
Well, maybe the spark they need. They have to have some trips that are rewarding and easy.
Mays gets it to Drought.
Now, if you delay a little bit, it occasionally makes that jumper a little bit tougher. But don't forget the wearing cuts tire the defense out.
Mays checks the shot clock. It's 14 seconds right now. Wow. Foul away from the ball. Offensive on Milholland. That's his second.
Well, a little bit of a mystery, I'm sure, to Todd. Maybe expressing himself as he posted up. Eddie not that upset, so he must have seen the elbow.
It's his second and the team's fifth. For the Commodores, number 35, Morgan
Wheat comes back in for Vanderbilt. And also Steve Grant, number 31, back on the court for Eddie Fogler. 6:18 to go. Big possession here for Penn State.
And man-to-man, too. Interesting. Eddie Fogler realizing it's important, too.
Barnes saw the man-to-man, goes right to the hoop, gets the bucket, and draws the foul.
He has been free on occasion. Could be a big factor opening things up for Fogel. The shape up with that body, able to clear a lot of people out of the way. Of course, the contact after, but a little bit of a rush with Penn State. They haven't had a lot of enthusiasm. It's been sort of a downish kind of a performance.
I don't think coaches are ever satisfied. Eddie Fogler's defense held Penn State scoreless for 8 minutes. They get 2 baskets, and he changes defense.
Goes to the man. Well, that's his favorite, so I'm sure he's going to rely on it.
Barnes, 70% free throw shooter, missed it. Loose ball underneath. Here comes Vandy.
They got the numbers.
Drought with a pull-up jumper, spun out on him. Wheat, offensive rebound, and he is mauled as he goes up for the follow.
I thought Drought could have got a little more out of that break. Didn't you? A little dump off the jumper.
Monroe Brown picked up the personal. That's 3 on him.
Great pursuit of the basketball, too. He thought he got all ball, as all the defenders do.
I think he did, but he got some help from his teammates. Wheat at the line. He's hit his only free throw tonight and has 11 points. Eddie Fogler out of the New York area. Went to North Carolina as a player, stayed as an assistant coach for years and years. Wheat hits again. Vanderbilt's lead back to 13. Exactly 6 minutes left in this one.
Back to the 2-3. Enough, huh? They may have somebody taping your remarks.
Well, they're virtually useless.
Your remark, though, when you think of it, they've been having their troubles deep. Why not force them to shoot a tough force pass?
Here comes Wilcox after the Barnes turnover.
So now he'll pull a string. Of course, I don't know if Milholland to have it out there, but Wilcox has a good feel, heady player.
Stroud gets to the baseline, cut off. Nice defensive job by Monroe Brown. Wilcox saved it to Wheat. Shot clock, still plenty of time, 22 seconds. Reach in, almost the steal by Barnes.
Nice deflection. James Barnes.
James Barnes got that steal. Barnes, low against Milholland. It won't go, but that's 4 fouls on Todd Milholland.
Well, toe or no toe, you might as well go to Ducker. He has become, or James, excuse me, he's become a force on the block. And again, you've got to think Fogel just out-defended. He can't get free.
Well, he really can't. He's only hit 4 baskets in this game, and it seems like he's only touched the ball 5 times inside.
In the drought, he didn't get it much at all.
No.
Right? Which is sort of extended this lead and got them in a hole.
Stroud goes out for a breather with 4:58 to go. And Milholland sits down with 4 personals. Barnes, 10 points. He's hit 2 out of 3 free throws tonight. And every shot becomes big for Penn State now.
Remember the thought, though, they're not a pressing full-court team, according to Bruce. They don't feel they have that overall speed. And obviously, with Barnes and Fogel, he may be correct.
Barnes cuts the lead to 11. 4:58 to go. Deggets comes back in. And Barnes will go out for a breather.
Here's the 2-2-1. Now they back up, straight up man. When you say you don't press, you don't get a lot out of it, is the point that Bruce was saying.
Wilcox working against Joyner. The 2 exchange shoves. And Penn State's defensive intensity really picking up. They'll need it to get back in. Down by 11, 4:37 left.
What's nice about Vandy's offense, they can run it almost like a delay while they're still pursuing, and the advantage there goes to the offense. He has made some strong moves.
Sure has.
Undeterred.
Fogel was waiting for him and just flattened him when he went up for the shot. 2 on Fogel.
You know how a lot of clubs will pull it out and say, okay, we're going to hold for 15, 20, and get back in. Well, they're running stuff, and they only want a good one, which is to their advantage. I think you don't stop the flow of the game.
Exactly. Penn State has gotten back into this one with a 9-1 run. Wheat spins out the first one. He'll get another. Hit 2 out of 4 tonight and has 12 points. Got another one. There are 7 players on this ball club with grade point averages with 3-0 or better. I didn't know 7 people that had a 3-0 or better.
Well, maybe someday they'll handle your portfolio.
I still don't know 7 people who had a 3-0 or better.
Now you do enough college games, you'll pick up 1 from each school or more.
Won't find it in announcers. 4:11 to go. Get it inside to the sophomore Dave Deggets.
They need the quick hitters. That foul area, even if you don't get the shot, the defense has to turn, you can kick.
First 2 points for Deggets. The lead is cut to 10. The Nittany Lions, if it gets much closer, they're used to winning big, close games all year long. Wheat with a miss, couldn't get the follow, and here come the Nittany Lions.
They really have a little more pizzazz in their game. Straight up man, which brings the guards into it a little bit more.
Monroe Brown trying to go baseline.
Whereas Fogel might get a chance to touch it right now.
Right now, all he's doing is screening on the baseline, or the other forward, Deggett screening on the baseline. A lot of contact, no whistle, and Vanderbilt basketball with 3:19 to go.
I admire Monroe for going in, but at some point, judgment has to prevail.
Eddie Fogler wants to talk about the final 3:09. His team, the Commodores, have a 10-point lead on Penn State. We'll be back to the Garden in a moment.
With the manufacturer's suggested retail price of only $63.99, more front seat headroom than a Mercedes, better gas mileage than any VW, and more front seat legroom than a Rolls-Royce, what could we possibly do to make this Suzuki Swift more attractive? Offer dealer cash incentives, up to $400. But hurry, this deal won't be around for long. Call now for the Suzuki dealer nearest you.
$1 million computers like these weren't built to withstand hard knocks. So when they wanted to move them cross-country, they called United Van Lines. This rare 19th century painting is too fragile for ordinary transportation, so they called United Van Lines. And when Kevin Anderson's family needed someone to move the things they treasured most, they called United Van Lines. Whether a priceless work of art or an equally priceless outfielder's glove, the quality shows in every move we make.
Who's that? Our neighbor, Orrin. Ever since he got his new Murray, he's been mowing the whole neighborhood.
When you pay good money for a mower, you want it to be tough and dependable.
Does such a good job, we're making the yard bigger. What? Does such a
Murray
good...
mowers are as tough as they come, cutting after cutting after cutting.
That Murray's a good buy.
What?
Goodbye.
Oh, say hello to Edna.
Murray mowers, tough as they come.
In the 1979 NIT championship game, Big Ten rivals Purdue and Indiana squared off. Joe Barry Carroll had given the Boilermakers the lead, and the head coach Bobby Knight of Indiana knew he'd need a special effort to pull the game out. He got it. With the clock running down, Butch Carter drills a jump shot, and Indiana would win the 1979 NIT championship 53-52. And, of course, we'll have the championship live for you of the 1990 NIT starting at 9 o'clock on Wednesday night. And Vanderbilt, 3:08 away from getting into that championship game. They have a 10-point lead on Penn State. Biggest lead was 19, but Penn State has made a 12-2 run. Almost a steal. Remember, the shot clock is the same as it was after or before the timeout. We're down to 9 seconds. Anglin trying to penetrate. Grant, offensive rebound, and a big one.
Big for one and disappointing for the other.
A new 45 seconds, and Eddie Fogler says, let's run it. This one is loose, out of bounds to Penn State, and Fogler did not like the call.
Well, there's the side of Eddie that I've known and enjoyed. Up and at him. Under control, though, no take.
Very aggressive in his displeasure. Chance to cut it to single digits.
2-3 really put the stress outside.
Monroe Brown with a runner.
2 tough shots in a row now by Monroe Brown in traffic.
And the foul will be on Fogel going after the loose ball. Penn State just not getting any second chances at all.
No, and the strokes have been tough ones, too.
Yeah.
They're always in a congested area. But the seal out, and of course the zone keeps more bodies in, and you get a lot of help on the glass.
2:13 left. Wheat will come back in. Vanderbilt, 31 rebounds to 21 for Penn State. And Penn State came in with a season's average of almost 8 rebounds a game better than their opponents. Grant, you don't want to send this guy to the line, an 82% shooter.
How low does he go, right? I've never seen a kid go that far to accentuate the leg lift, and that's what a foul shot or jump shot is. Get down. Because the way I shot, this was prayer time.
Grant in his last 16 ball games has been a tremendous shooter from the floor as well as the line, shooting 75%. He knows his range, doesn't try to go outside it. Lead is 12, and it's desperation time for the Nittany Lions. Barnes feeds low to Barnes, just threw that one up and missed, but the follow is good by Deron Hayes. And a timeout for Penn State.
Yeah, they got it.
Hayes with 10 points, and he cuts the lead to 10. Vanderbilt 66, Penn State 56.
Red Roof Inn people aren't just friendly, they're knowledgeable. Quick, what's the average temperature of Iceland in January?
30 degrees Fahrenheit,
See, I was-
-1 centigrade.
Wow.
For knowledgeable people and affordable rooms, hit the roof. Red Roof Inns. Call 1-800-THE-ROOF.
Gravity. It cannot be defied, but its impact can be lessened with the unique, shock-absorbing properties of gel. ASICS Gel, the same material built into the ASICS Gel cross trainers. Do it better with ASICS Gel. But do it without the egg.
I'm Mark Sosin of ESPN Saltwater Journal. Each week we take you with us as we explore the very beautiful but fragile marine environment. Increasing pollution in the form of plastic trash and chemicals threatens to destroy oceans and estuaries. Clean water is essential for our very existence. Please join me in protecting and preserving our water resources. You can make a world of difference.
You told me about the great jobs in the National Business Employment Weekly.
And the help in landing them, and doing better on the job.
So I really owe my new job to you?
Well...
Thank you, sweetheart.
Get the National Business Employment Weekly at your newsstand or order by credit card and get 8 issues by first-class mail for $35. Call 800-228-5505. 800-228-5505. The National Business Employment Weekly.
Don't make a career move without it.
Penn State has been on a 13-4 run, but they're still down by 10, and their star, Ed Fogel, has been held to 8. Vanderbilt with great outside shooting, and they've done the job on the boards tonight against a very strong rebounding Penn State team. There is Fogel. The senior averages 15.5 points a game. First-team all-conference Atlantic 10. He's been held to 8 and reaches in and commits his 4th personal right there.
Oh, they want to stop the clock. That time facing the inbound pass receiver, trying to change it a little bit. Almost came up with a 5-second violation, which would be the ideal for Bruce Parkhill. And they are extremely competitive. When you think of how they've been able to have this great year with guards shooting under 40, that's unheard of in this generation of basketball. And mainly because of that heart there, I think, Ed Fogel, who hasn't touched it enough. Plain and simple.
1-1.
Milholland, there are no soft touches on Vanderbilt from the free throw line. 76.7% free throw shooter. He's one of the lower guys.
Well, they really work hard on it. And obviously, to succeed at the end of games, you got to nail them. And it's a motion offense, so you can't really... Everybody's going to touch it. It's not like you're going to separate.
Missed the second one, 11-point lead with 1:49 to go. Penn State cannot waste any time. Monroe Brown penetrates, goes down the lane. Again, out of control, and we've got the foul inside. Brown has not taken advantage of his ability to penetrate.
No, he had the 2 that he forced, one a drive, one a medium jumper, and that drive. So it's 3 empty trips, and Fogel was open that time. So sometimes you lose perspective when your big guy hasn't touched it all game.
Sometimes you'll see guys make that penetrating move, and they duck their head and can't see the open man. Brown commits his 4th personal foul, and that offensive foul.
Really need a steal here, unable to come up with one, though. And as you mentioned, good free throw shooter, so.
These guys will not miss many.
Got a pass and cut. Stroud wants to go to the foul line.
Stroud certainly does. He's only made 87.4% of his free throws this year.
You still like the ball kicked around, though. Get that clock moving, get inside. Enjoy the taste of victory.
Scott Stroud at the line, 1-1.
He'll have a chance in the championship game Wednesday night to break the school record for 3-point shots in a season. He had 82 coming into this game, buried several tonight. And look at the stats on Vanderbilt as a team. Oh, that's just sensational shooting.
Sure is.
And there, Stroud misses another one, but gets the rebound as it's tipped outside.
Eddie said they were great in the Southeastern. Fogel aggressively giving one away and commiserating, which is nice sportsmanship.
England got it across the face. If they call it on Fogel, that's his 5th. And it is Fogel. He'll foul out of the game with 1:23 to go. 8 points on the night. Number 3 all-time career scorer for Penn State. The number 10 all-time career rebounder, and a kid who just plays as hard as he can all the time.
And he's very disappointed. You can see him as he went out. In the Garden, you like to play your best, but I don't think it's any fault of his. I think Vandy just took him out of the game and put it on the guards for Penn State.
They made up their mind Fogle was not going to be the guy that beat him. And if you don't get a lot of help, you can do that. You can take one guy out of a game. Anglin scores his first point. Hits the second free throw. 1:22 left to go in this game. A 14-point lead for the Commodores, who will win their 20th game of the season.
Really tagging the outside shooters, even though they've been struggling.
Barnes hits the 3. Freddie Barnes with 18 points tonight. Reach-in foul stops the clock with 1:05 to go. That one's called on Deron Hayes. And Wilcox limping. And I'm sure Eddie Fogler doesn't want to see that with 1:05 to go and the game sewed up.
Got one of those bones, you know, as the guy runs by, it looks like, testing it. Well, Eddie will be a factor, I think, in that conference. He'll get some kids.
Yep.
Some strong performers that are heavily recruited. He'll be competitive.
Anglin makes it 71-58. Line drive action on that one when it comes out.
Of course, Penn State a tough bounce back on Wednesday. Very disheartening. When you lose one this late, have to come back and a quick timeout now. After Jennings nails another. He's shown some signs.
Yes, he has. And Jennings, you look at his stats, shooting 28% from the floor, shooting 22% as a three-point shooter. But he got that one and cut the lead back to 11. Bill, what would you do? You hear people complain all the time about the last 2 minutes of games just taking forever. What can you do with rules or anything else to change that? It does take forever. I think it takes away from the game at times.
Well, you normally work with a partner who has the answers. Tonight you're stuck with me. Well, we've talked on our broadcast too. I think the powers to be, in talking with various people like Dave Gavitt, they're going to come up with something, whether it's to waive the foul, the 2 shots, or on a dead ball, if you foul, 2 shots plus the ball when you're out of bounds and you foul when the guy's on the floor. I think there'll be a lot of changes, but in reality, after those, there aren't so many things you can do, but give the foul and put the stress on the shooter.
How about the suggestion of not having so many timeouts available to the coaches in television games? They already get all these TV timeouts.
Well, the strategy of the game, the beauty of it is when the game is even and you need those timeouts to set up, not that you're behind trying to give the foul. So I think if you take that away, it really ruins the beauty of people stealing victories late.
Vanderbilt up by 11, 71-60. Of course, coming up about a half an hour after our telecast here concludes, we'll have game 2 of the semifinal, St. Louis and New Mexico. They met last year in the NIT in a sensational game, and St. Louis came from behind to win.
Or in a case like that, don't call it.
Yeah.
The clock won't stop. Drought got
reach-in foul on Jennings, and Drought will go to the line.
Got his uniform messed up, a little disarray, but it is a dilemma. And of course, Eddie sitting on a pretty comfortable lead, just has to worry about making free throws. But think of Penn State now. Bruce has to get his guys ready for Wednesday.
He has to play in a consolation game, which I think is probably the toughest thing to motivate anybody for.
And not that the NIT would listen to us, but
or anybody else.
I just wonder what value it really has, other than to prove to your kids, hey, you got to bounce back from adversity. But after a season-long trial and error.
And what a tough way to go out for the loser, losing the last 2 games.
It is.
20 for Drought on the night. A 3 from Barnes won't go, and a foul underneath with 31 seconds left.
Penn State foul charged to Rodney Henderson.
Well, of course, Penn State will be disappointed. They'll finish their season at 24-9. but they won 17 of their last 21 games coming out in here. Finished second in the Atlantic 10 with a 13-5 record. And really, you talk about teams winning, having 20-game seasons. This was only the third time in Penn State history that they've ever won 20 games, and Park Hill did it back-to-back years.
Back-to-back, and what he's done, I think, highly upset, visibly upset, not getting in the NCAA, but getting them together, making this run to get here. And, of course, the Vandy team really measured up to the encounter this evening. But I think Bruce is just one of those that will be heard from for a long time.
Nice move by Deggets. Couldn't get the shot to fall. We're down to 20 seconds. And Wilcox is fouled. That push by Freddie Barnes.
Penn State foul charged to Freddie Barnes, his first. Number 52, Eric Green, is back in for Vandy.
Coming up after our ball game and before the second semifinal, Sports Center will be along to update you on everything that's going on. And spring training update, Tom Mees will tell us what's going on in professional baseball, something we have been just drooling to see.
Has a nice ring to it.
Yes, it does. 9 points tonight for Wilcox. And, of course, ESPN is going to be delighted to be bringing you so many baseball games this year. Vandy now up by 15. We're down in the last 19 seconds. Jennings works for his shot, a two-pointer. Another one-arm rebound by Deggets. He's really gotten good at that. The tip-in does go.
Penn State.
And Penn State will use its last timeout. You got to explain this one to me with 5.7 seconds left.
They're going to chase him back out, which is
that's
okay.
right. Just stopping the clock and send them back out. I wish more coaches would do just that.
Well, some guys like to show you their slacks and combo sport coat. Eddie had his club ready. Really solid, so a lot to be said for what he's done. Through adversity all year, long losing streak, and got him ready at the end of the year.
Vanderbilt shoots 54%, particularly effective early from outside. And they have beaten Penn State to advance to the championship game of the NIT. The final here, Vanderbilt 75, Penn State 62. We'll be back in just a moment.
One airline has had the best record for on-time dependability for as long as records have been kept. American Airlines. And when an airline runs on time, it tells you a lot about the airline. It tells you that the schedules are met reliably. Check-in is handled efficiently. Maintenance is performed impeccably. And that service is everybody's priority. In short, it tells you that one airline is committed to being the very best. American Airlines, the on-time machine.
$1 million computers like these weren't built to withstand hard knocks. So when they wanted to move them cross-country, they called United Van Lines. This rare 19th century painting is too fragile for ordinary transportation, so they called United Van Lines. And when Kevin Anderson's family needed someone to move the things they treasured most, they called United Van Lines. Whether it's a computer, a priceless work of art, or an equally priceless outfielder's glove, the quality shows in every move we make.
The National Invitation Tournament is brought to you by United Van Lines, where the quality shows in every move we make. And by Murray Mowers, tough as they come. Final here at Madison Square Garden. Vanderbilt 75, Penn State 62, and Bill Raftery has the winning coach, Eddie Fogler, who just picked up his 20th victory of the season.
Talk to you or look what the hell I do.
Eddie, returning home has got to feel pretty good.
Well, Bill, it is. It's nice to be back in the Garden. Certainly it's nice to be back as a basketball coach, and I thought we played very well here today and beat a fine Penn State team, and we're on it to play for the NIT championship here on Wednesday.
a different team, I think, than I saw early in the year. Maybe more players. I think Morgan Weed, a welcome addition after that injury, but Scott Drought shooting the threes is only Ed Fogler used to.
No, he's a lot better shooter than me. That's embarrassing. Scott's a fine shooter. He got us out of the gate very well tonight, very early. We shot threes well early, but we couldn't stop them defensively. Then we went to the zone, played a lot more zone. I thought that was effective, and we did a great job on Fogel. We held him down. He's an excellent player.
Looking ahead, I know you love to look ahead after a great win. Have you seen both these clubs? I know how prepared you normally are, so I'm sure you've spotted them.
Well, we've watched tape on both. I have an assistant coach in charge of each team. I have not watched, I don't do that. That's a jinx. I only watch the next opponent, but I'll watch the second game and go back to the hotel and start preparing and watching tape, whoever wins the second game.
I know there's one guy in Chapel Hill that's delighted in this win for you. That's Dean Smith. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Coach called last night, and he's the best. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Terrific. Okay, Michael.
All right, Eddie, congratulations.